Hi there, it's Frank Klesitz. Welcome to the next database marketing hangout with our special guest, Bob Guest today. Bob, thank you very much for being here on the event. I really do appreciate you taking aside an hour of your time today and sharing some good, valuable information with our audience here.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks, Frank.
Yeah, man. So Bob gets a 36-time return on his investment. He spends about $1,200 a month to generate $42.9 a month, which is an incredible return. And we're going to go through that today in the Hangout. But I want to let you know here at Vyral Marketing what we do. This is a 100% educational Hangout. You can learn more about what Vyral Marketing is, what we're all about on our website. We help you get more sales from your customer database by interviewing on a webcam just like this, editing it, getting it out to your database. Then you prioritize follow-up with the people who watch those videos in your database or business. And if you want to get notified of future database marketing hangouts, just a few housekeeping things here. On our website, getvyral.com, Getvyral, you can scroll down on the right-hand side. There's an option to opt in for our weekly newsletter. If you opt in for our weekly newsletter, we always have announcements of the new database marketing hangouts in that newsletter. You can also follow us on our YouTube channel, Vyral Marketing, and you can also follow us right here on the Google Plus page where we announce all of our future events. Our goal is to do one of these every 2 weeks specific to working, building, nurturing, and getting business from a database of people. So today, just so you have an idea of how we're going to structure the Hangout, the first part, Bob here is going to tell us a little bit about his business and kind of how he got to where he is. Then we're going to dive into the key parts of the Vyral Marketing plan. So what is Bob doing to get email addresses and build his database? We'll spend about 10 minutes on that. What is he doing to create content, the best topics, the best things to send to his database? And then we're going to talk about how you actually work that database by prioritizing phone call follow-up with the people watching those videos. And then we're going to get into some cool things that Bob's looking to do about interviewing other business owners in the community to get referrals and also access to their databases using an advanced co-marketing plan. And we're going to talk about that strategy. In addition to, as promised, Mark has given us his entire marketing budget. And we're going to go over this and find out what's working and what's not working and how we plan on keeping your marketing expenses within 10% of revenue and getting good return on investment on everything. Right, Bob?
Right, Frank.
Good. So thanks for being on here, man. I really appreciate it. Why don't you go ahead and share with us just a little bit. Well, let me give you your formal introduction. Bob Guest is a real estate agent in Austin, a veteran of 15 years in the business. And he sold 92 homes last year for a total of 750,000 GCI. And that included a few other deals, like some leases you had in there and some other GCI that was totally included in that, what you gave me. And 68.5% of all of that money came from someone just calling him up again or referring him from his database of business. Last year, he earned about 514, which would be 68%, $514,000 from his database. And like I said earlier in the beginning of the Hangout, 36x ROI, $1,200 a month he spends to get $42.9. And hopefully we can share with the audience today how you're doing that so they can model it and apply it into their business. All right, Bob?
Right.
So why don't you just give us a little rundown of just why you got into the business and kind of how you ended up to where you're at today in Austin real estate.
Well, I was in the business of buying and selling houses for myself. I was an investor primarily for many, many years. And then I decided to get my real estate license because a lot of people were asking me to help them with real estate, and I realized I couldn't help them unless I had a license. So when I came into the real estate business, I had been selling houses, and by selling the houses, I had built up a database of people interested in buying houses. So people would call on my ads for my houses that I was selling, and people would come to my open houses, and I'd have my own database. I wasn't a realtor yet. So I became a realtor just because I took the classes, the real estate classes, not even intending to be a realtor. And then I was starting to get people involved with houses without a license, so I figured I had to have one. And I just took my database from the beginning and started selling houses. So I joined Keller Williams right away. It's the only company I've been with. And I got immediately engaged with Gary Keller and Dave Jenks and a few other people that wrote this book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Mm-hmm. Which is a phenomenal book, and we built our whole business based on this book. And the book basically says right in the beginning, your business is your database. Everything about your database is what's going to grow your business. Your business will be a reflection of your database, and your business will grow in accordance to how your database grows. So from the very beginning, that resonated with me, so I always started building my database, trying to get more and more people into my database through just by meeting them, creating a relationship, and they Dave Jenks and Gary Keller said, you have to touch them 33 times a year for it to be effective. So they basically gave me a rhyme: build a database, feed it every day, communicate with it in a systematic way, and service all the leads that come your way.
Like how that rhymes. Now,
Yeah,
that's a great book. For a backstory, that's the reason we have Vyral Marketing, is because I needed a 33-touch plan when I was going to go into real estate, and that's why we created this firm, to help you do that. It's the best content to get out. So just so people know, how big is your team? You only have a few people on your team where you actually service 91 homes. It's yourself and who else?
Well, right now I have one virtual assistant that picks up my signs for me and my lock boxes and does market analysis for me, mostly for REO purposes, which is essentially dead right now for us. Real estate owned, bank foreclosures, we're not really doing that anymore. I have an ISA, an inside sales agent, and an assistant. And that's really it. My buyer's agent, and I have one buyer's agent, obviously.
And
too.
you're the one working with all the clients.
I am now. Right now, I'm working with every single client, buyers and sellers. But in the past, I've worked only with sellers.
Okay.
But right now, I'm working with both because my market has shifted a little bit here.
All right. So why don't we just start off with this then? What do you think strategically has made you so successful to get this type of return from your database? So a way of thinking and approach to your business, before we get into the technicals of how you do it, will you kind of explain to us, why do you feel 68% of your database is giving you so much business?
That's a great question, and I have a good answer. One of my biggest strength is I'm very responsible. People trust me. It's just my biggest strength. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something. So people naturally trust me once they know me. Now, they don't naturally trust me if I meet them. In fact, I take it for granted that they trust me, but they may not. But once someone knows me, they usually trust me. And from the very beginning, I've always learned to communicate with people in a systematic way, often. And we always try to provide the highest possible level of service, be responsible to our clients, be competent, caring, and responsive.
So one of the things I want to point out with Bob's database is that you have a relationship with everyone who is in your quote-unquote database for the most part. Is that correct?
Right. I have a Yeah, and my goal every day is to improve that relationship, especially with core advocates, my vendors, and people that I work with and know very, very well. And
yeah, I want to.
Did we go down?
You guys still there? I just got booted off. I'm trying to share something on my screen. You still hear me, Bob?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Oh boy.
Well, that's not going to work. I just got booted off. Did you see me get booted off second time there, Bob?
I can't tell from my end.
No, I'm sorry, everybody. I got booted off. I'm trying to share my screen to show you your open and click report for your database. You have about 1,800, I would say, about 1,800 emails in your database. How would you say most of those emails you've acquired over the years? How did you get 1,800 people in your database?
Well, my goal is to add 15 people to my database every single week. So we've always been very, very focused in a accountability situation just to add people. So every time someone calls in, we have sheets. We have a sheet for buyers and we have a sheet for sellers, and we actually write down we ask every person that calls in for their name and their address and their email. And we have forms set up for that, and then I give those to my assistant, and she puts them into my database marketing system. We just keep them in there, and we keep incubating them.
So your job, so let's talk about this then. How many people would you say you talk to about real estate, and how many hours a week do you spend prospecting?
I spend at least 3 hours a day prospecting, and I try to talk to 7 people an hour. And I know if I talk to 7 people an hour, I'm going to talk to about 20 people a day, to 21, and I'll usually get 1 to 2 appointments per day with a buyer or a seller or an investor.
And who are you calling?
I call everyone I know. Usually I focus primarily on my sphere of influence right now, and that's how I built my business. I only call people that I know, and I ask them a simple question.
And what's that question?
And I've learned it over the years, and I've changed it, and I've gone back to it, and I've changed it, and I've gone back to it. But it's really simple. I don't even ask for referrals. I just say, who do you know that I should know? And I've learned that from just so many people that it's just a phenomenal script, and then it's just a very simple script, and it works a lot better than saying, hey, who do you know that's thinking about buying or selling? You just say, who do you know that I should know? And people usually come up with one or two people.
I like that strategy.
It's one of those magical phrases that just happens to work. It's a script. I know I've heard Diana Kokoska use it over and over again. I've heard lots of high-end people with language of sales use it and explain that that's a good script to use. I've heard a lot of people with neurolinguistics say that's a good script, so I incorporated it. Just who do you know that I should know? And usually that has a very great response. Just a simple question.
So you just open up your database of people that you know. I mean, you
Right.
just pull out a random list of people from your phone or Facebook or whatever and start calling people. Can you go a little deeper maybe how you do that?
Oh, no. My assistant has big notebooks that we call our 33 touch notebooks. And she actually schedules my calls every day. So about at 5 to 7 people in my sphere of influence are put into my call list every day. My assistant does it for me. So she takes 5, 6, 7, 8 people from my database and puts them into my call schedule every day. So all I have to go is into my computer and just call those people every day.
That's
and then
nice.
a lot of times I call people that aren't in my list, or maybe my assistant didn't get people on that list, but I just call people that I know every single day. And that's really primarily all I do. Now my inside salesperson will call expireds, for sale by owners, and those type of outbound calls, but I'm really just totally focused on my sphere. And in addition to those calls, my sphere of influence calls, I'm doing follow-up calls on future listings, follow-up calls on future buyers, and follow-up calls on past clients, especially if they just closed. And the other big thing I do, this red book also says that you have to have some sort of client appreciation program to over-deliver. And the best way to do that is to have a client appreciation party of some sort or event where you invite everyone in your database. Because what happens to a lot of people that are in real estate, they don't want to call their sphere of influence because they don't feel they have anything to tell them. But if you have a client appreciation event, you can email them about the client appreciation event. You can text them about the client appreciation event. You can call them about the client appreciation event. You can mail them about the client appreciation event. Then you can remind them again about the client appreciation event. You just touched them 5 times with value by just offering a client appreciation event. So that's my way of tricking myself to making it a nice, fun call, to make it fun to people. And then you just tell them, hey, we're having a party. We want you to come. Can you please bring your wife and your friends? And it's just an easy phone call to make.
Do you have any other tips you can give someone for an excuse to call, of calling up a cousin or somebody you met a long time ago, 2 years ago, like how you kind of handle that conversation when someone comes to your database and like, man, I haven't talked to this person for a long time and I got to call them today? How do you handle that?
Well, the best tips I have for calling people about things, I always try to think. I was told a long time ago by someone that was really good, Althea Osborne, never call somebody unless you have something of value to give them. So I always try to think of something of value. Like this time of year, people are going to be protesting their taxes. So I go, hey, I just remind them, hey, tax season is coming up. We're appreciating like crazy. If you want tips on how to fight your taxes when you go to the appraisal district, I'd be happy to help you get a market analysis for you. We'd do that for you for free, obviously, because you're a past client. So we can often get your taxes down by 10% or 20% just by contacting me.
I find it very interesting that your time is spent calling past clients in Sphere only, and you're setting 1 or 2 appointments a day just off that.
Well, I also have an inside sales agent that helps me set appointments.
But they're calling cold leads though. They're calling expireds and FISBOs. They're calling the haven't mets. You're calling your mets.
Right.
Right.
Yes, I can set up appointments just from that.
That's incredible. Okay.
Now
so
that's my goal. My goal is if I do the 2, if I get 2 appointments a day, that my business is going to take off and I'm going to be fine. Some days I don't get any. Some days I get 1. Sometimes we're shut out. But I know that statistically, if I contact my 32 people on my sphere, I get 1 appointment.
So if you speak with 32 people, 1 person will give you an appointment of buying or selling a home.
Right.
So you speak to how many people a day again?
I speak to about 20 a day.
Okay.
But my inside salesperson talks to 40 a day.
So you should easily be pulling at least one appointment a day then.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now let's
Our
talk
goal is to get
about email addresses. So your ISA, or actually we probably should call them more of an OSA because they're doing outbound calls, not necessarily responding to the inbound calls. So this is someone who's doing outbound prospecting for you, and then you're making calls. Are you getting email addresses from your haven't mets to make them mets?
That's been an ongoing challenge. Yeah, a lot of our haven't mets. I also get a lot of business from my farm. Although last year I only got 4 sales from a farming area. That's because our farming areas have gotten to have slowly evolved into low turnover, where they used to be high turnover.
Mm-hmm.
So my marketing dollars aren't well spent in my farm.
Well, let's show everyone that. I don't know if you can see this. This is your P&L. Let's hold this up so people can see it. You spent what, $33,000 on farming last year?
Yes, I spent $33,000 on farming, and it resulted in 4 sales.
Well, that's not too good.
No.
Okay.
So,
well, when you call expireds, are you getting emails from expireds? Are you getting emails from FSBOs? I mean, are you asking for email addresses? So why don't you tell us about that? So it's one thing, it's hard to get email addresses and people calling you from mailings. It depends upon the market, depends upon the turnover rate. There's a lot of things there. It can be done, but that's just not working for you.
No, I find it easy to get email addresses, but I have a script for that too.
On the phone, I'm saying getting emails from mailing people and getting them to go to a website. What you're saying is you getting them just on the phone and talking to them to get their email addresses. So why don't you share the script that you use to get permission to stay in touch with, say, an expired or a FSBO or somebody that you haven't met when you're on the phone with them?
Well, it's really, really simple. I learned a long time ago that if I say just in case, that people will give me anything. So I'll say, look, hey, can I have your phone number just in case? Can I have your email just in case? And they give it to me.
Just in case what?
I don't tell them. I just say, I want your email just in case.
Just in case?
And for some reason, that seems to be very, very, very effective. Like if you ask someone for you say, can I have your phone number, Frank? I think psychologically you start to get on the defensive. But if I say, hey, Frank, can I have your phone just in case? They go, oh, sure.
Okay.
So it's another language. It's kind of a language of sales thing. If you just say just in case, hey, can I have your email just in case? And they just give it to you.
So let's talk about this. How many people of the haven't mets that are called? How many haven't mets? If you call, like, say, 100 haven't mets, how many of those people will give you an email address to move them into a met off of a good quality phone conversation?
I find that they all do.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah, I just find that they do. That if you're providing information and valuable information, and they are considering using your business, and it's a valuable conversation, yeah, they all do. We don't have a challenge with it.
So one of the takeaways I think everyone can hear here is that you're spending let's say this again, how many hours a week are you spending on the phone or so you have an assistant, cumulative with you and your assistant, how many hours are put in trying to reach somebody on the phone?
I spend 18 hours on average a week, 15 to 18 hours myself.
And your prospector?
And she spends 6 hours, at least about 6 hours a day. So 6 times 5, 30 hours.
48 hours about?
48 hours a week. Yeah.
So 48 hours a week is going to get somebody on the phone. You're working the mets, they're working the haven't mets. And the majority of every haven't met she contacts, she's getting their email address and bringing them into your database for the most part, right? Using using the just in case script.
Yeah, using that sort of a script. I mean, it's just really simple words.
Okay.
So my scripts tend to be really, really, really simple.
Let me ask you this. When did you start asking for email addresses, making that little shift that maybe I should stay in touch with these people more with some type of touch campaign in addition to the phone calls? Was that recent? Have you been doing that for a long time?
No, I've always gotten emails from my sphere forever. But now my farm. Now we're working to try to touch our farm by email, and we're starting to systematically do that where we didn't ask for our farming, we didn't ask for the emails from our haven't met before.
You mean when you made just listed, just sold phone calls, expired FSBOs, when you called haven't mets, cold people, you just recently started asking for email addresses.
Yeah, just in the last 2 years we've been focusing on that.
Why only 2 years ago?
Because we weren't marketing to them with anything other than a newsletter or postcards. So there didn't seem to be a need because our marketing, our direct mail campaign was working very well at the time. And
Okay.
since then, it hasn't. It's stopped working.
Which is the shift to when we get into the viral marketing stuff.
Right.
Excuse me. Okay.
So we were sending newsletters to our farm and postcards to our farm and doing, you know, door-to-door flyers, and it was very effective. We were getting 30 sales a year from farming, and then it shifted slowly since about 2006.
Now, do you think that's because of the hot Austin market? I know Austin's a very hot market, right?
No, the reason is
why is that?
no, the reason is because I wasn't tracking my farm's turnover, and it went from a huge turnover a year to a very low turnover a year as the market matured. So the subdivision I was working was 1,000 houses, and it used to sell like 130, 150 houses from that 1,000 every year, and I would get a third of it, 30 homes. Well, now there's about 50 homes that sell per year, and I get a third of that, so it's like down to 12 that I can potentially get, and I only got 4 out of the 50 last year.
Yeah, so just the areas you're farming don't have the turnover. There's no market there.
They don't have the turnover, and then
Okay.
the people that are left have been there a long time. They may already have a relationship with another realtor, and nothing beats. One thing Gary Keller told me years ago: nothing beats a great relationship. No marketing can beat a great relationship with another realtor.
Well, he said that at Family Reunion. Is that
Yeah,
the whole Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com? They're trying to get ahead of you, and the only way you can be ahead of that is to hold a relationship, where they call the realtor as opposed to going online. Yeah. Okay.
You can't beat a relationship.
Just so everyone knows, we have a live Q&A available here. If you want to ask a question on the lower right, it'll show up here. So if you have any questions about how Bob builds his database, let us know and feel free to ask and we'll get to them. But I'm just trying to say, is there any other tips you can offer anyone? It's just so dead simple. You go out, you talk to people, you ask for their email address to stay in touch, and you bring it into your database. And a database is nothing more than a list of names. You put it into your, what CRM do you use? Want to share that? What system you use?
I use Top Producer. I've always used Top
Producer.
Producer. I've never changed from Top Producer. So if you go to all the masterminding sessions, they tell you just pick one and stay with it.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Fantastic. But, I'll give you another simple tip. Hang on. Like I have these sheets. We call the buyers are green. So when a buyer comes in, we have a script that we go through right from this sheet. And we ask them questions, and then their name and address and email address goes right here on the top. And I give that to my assistant at every call. So if it's a seller that comes in, it's a yellow lead. We say buyers are money. Buyers are now money, so they're green. Yellows are a little slower money, so they're like a yellow light going through the traffic signal. So we take out every single lead that we get every day. I put them down.
And that goes to the Top Producer. When you get those leads, they go into Top Producer.
They go into Top Producer. And then they go into an 8x8 system, and then they go into a 33-touch system.
Great. All right, so I want to go a little over just doing a little math. We're going to do a little math of your database. So again, you're talking to how many people a week? You and your prospect are talking to how many people a week?
Well, I have to talk to 100 people a week, and she has to talk to 200 a week. That's our goal.
That's 300 people. Now, the people you're calling, you probably have most of their emails, I would assume.
Yeah, and some days I fail. Like last week, I only contacted 60. I failed.
So of the 300 people, how many emails are you going to get a week? What do you think? Remember, most people you're calling, they already have their emails. How many emails are you going to be able to bring in your database a week off of the 300 people you two are both talking to?
Our goal is
emails.
Our goal is 75 is our goal, but we don't usually reach that. It's probably more like 60.
Okay, I'll put 60 there. So if you're doing 60, you're adding 240 emails to your database every single month of people that have given you permission that I want to hear from Bob Guest and what you have to say about real estate, or at least said just in case, right? I think you would be a little bit better just saying, there's nothing wrong with also saying, just in case, and I also want to send you some timely and important videos I make on what's happening in the Austin real estate market when it comes to the value of your home.
Yep.
If you added that in there, that would probably be even better, in my opinion. But that's pretty incredible by how many emails that you're able to add, which is great. And your open rates, again, I can't share my screen for everybody, but we're sending out to about 1,800, 1,900 people so far every 2 weeks of the video. You're getting somewhere and floating between 13 to 16% open rate, which is incredible. And your click-through rate is fantastic. You're going between 3 to 5%, which is really good. So people really are clicking on and engaging with your stuff. And your highest click-through rates, your highest engagement, that's getting 5, 6% click-through rates, is your market updates. A market update's the number one thing people want to see. Now, where is the market headed, or what happened in the market with
Right.
regard to the price of your home? That could be 12 of the 24 topics you send out for the year for your database. So let's move away from getting emails. Now let's talk about content. Let's talk about, you have 1,800 people. You're getting 240 emails a month into the database, right? So you have to bring them in, and now you have to communicate with them and then service the business your way. So what are you doing to communicate with them? Let's talk about what you were doing, and then why do you feel you're successful with the Vyral?
Okay, well, the 33 touch, one of the things that you'll find out when you go to talk to other high-end realtors, I mean, successful realtors, a lot of realtors, I mean, I think the numbers are staggering. Very few realtors have embraced the idea of a 33 touch and really have a 33 touch in place. Very few. I mean, I've heard numbers like only 5% of realtors have some sort of systematic touch system. So it's the science of real estate, I think. It's a science. There's a science to this. And we've tested it, and we've tested it, and we've tested it, and we've done this for 15 years, and no matter what we do, 70% of our business comes from sphere of referral and past clients. It just does. It's scientific. And if you break that down, the best you can do is about 1 out of 6 in your sphere you can get business from. So a 10%, I mean, if you do a bad job, you're going to get 10% of your sphere. So my sphere that really has a relationship with me is about 800 people. So I get a little less than 10%. I'm getting like 68 sales from my 800 people. So that's like a science. I know that I'm not perfect, and some agents are getting 1 out of 6.
Mm-hmm.
So some people are actually almost doubling my.
So you communicate with your list as a whole, and that's where we start. So you don't have any segments, more or less. You just have the whole list.
I do have segments.
Well, you do have segments, but as far as for the communication, I want to talk about the communication strategies.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what everybody in the database gets. All right.
Yeah. So everyone in my right.
And then let's talk about how you segment it and what they get. How about that?
Okay.
So what does everybody get, and what is your strategy behind that?
So everyone gets a series of emails and 2 videos a month from you guys. So everyone gets that. Now so that's about 33 touches right there.
24 plus the phone calls.
Plus now we categorize it. If someone has given me more than 1 referral, they're an A. If someone gives me 1 referral, they're a B. If someone has told me they would refer me, they're a C. So, and each one of those groups gets different communication. Obviously, the more you've referred to me, the more I want to grow your business or help you, and then the more phone calls I make. So if someone's referred me multiple times, I usually call them once a month.
So you're calling your A's once a month. How many A's do you have?
We have like a 30 or 40, very small number, 25 to 30. Usually it changes back and forth, and then we have the B databases referred us once. That may be like 200, 300 people, or 400 people that are in the area.
How much communication do your Bs get?
I usually call them 6 times a year, like every 2 months.
Okay. And then what about Cs?
They get it once a quarter.
And the only difference between the segments is just the phone calls.
Right.
There's no there's nothing else going on there so everyone just get the 2 videos, and then you just have your phone calls being made.
Well, if you're an A, you may get a special gift from me or some sort of thing or some extra communication.
Hold on, let's go back. You spent $5,000 on giveaway items.
Yeah.
Those are probably for your A's then, right?
Right.
Baskets, thank yous, whatever it is.
Thank you, things like that. Yeah, special gifts, something nice, something very individual to the client.
Okay. But as far as your newsletters and videos, it's all to the same list.
Now the newsletters are not, because I mail those.
So you have the 2 videos a month.
Right.
You segment your database by A, Bs, and Cs depending upon if they've actually referred you or not.
Right.
Which is a good way of tagging everybody. But then you also have print newsletters.
Yeah, and they only go out to my A, Bs, and Cs.
Okay, so the total of maybe how many people get your print newsletter every month? 600, 700? 812. What is in that? Where do you get that done? How much does that cost? Please share that with us.
That is about $1 a door, so it's about $821 a month. And we have it done by a printing house called West Press. and it's just it's a nice little newsletter
What's in it?
that we
What's the
put
content?
together. Huh?
What's in it? What's the content?
Well, the content is usually something of interest about home repairs, or there'll be a little joke in there. There'll be some anecdotes. A lot of times we'll send out stories from books that we read or something of interest that gets it to be opened. Usually we give a gift away. There's some trivia question in it, and we usually give a gift for the first 3 responders to the newsletter to try to get them to open it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about all the newsletter is. Nothing really special. We'll put invitations to the client appreciation party in the newsletter. We'll put, if you want a home market report.
How many client parties do you do a year? Because I like the idea of the client party because it gives you an excuse to contact people all the time. I think maybe at least 3. How many do you do?
I do one.
One.
Just one.
Just one a year, and then you call the entire year inviting him to that one event.
No, I don't. Like
I got this event in 8 months. Want to come?
No, our party this year is on March 28th, and so right now we're really intense on getting the calls done. But we started making the calls 3 months before the event, just to give us an excuse to make calls and talk to people about the event. But yeah, right now we only do one event. Now we're thinking about going to 2 events, just because it is so much nicer to talk to people about that. But during the holidays, we have the event in March because there's a lot of things to talk to people about in the holidays. Like you can say Happy Thanksgiving, Happy Christmas, and things like that. You can talk about sports. I like to talk about restaurants with people. I go, hey, I went to this restaurant. I thought you'd be interested in it. Where do you guys go out to eat? I mean, that's another thing you can talk about.
I want to play some devil's advocate here. So you're obviously very good on the phone. You're doing a lot of phone calls, phone touches, hand-to-hand combat, for your business. Why even do the videos or the newsletters? If you think you could just save all that money.
Newsletter?
Yeah, well, why even do the viral marketing? And why even do the newsletters if chances are you probably achieve a lot of this business without any marketing expense because you're so good on the phone?
All right, so here's what happened. About 2 years ago, I'm going to mastermind events left and right, trying to figure out how to shift away. When the market turned in 2006 and 2007, it turned everything upside down. But about 2 or 3 years ago, we were masterminding with people, and I heard over and over and over again that the best way to market people right now is through video. So I started taking classes on video. There were local agents here that helped me a lot with video, and I realized that putting the videos together was very time-consuming and challenging. You almost need to hire someone to do editing for you and put the videos together for you because they do take a little bit of time. They're not hard to do, but it's just like blogging. If you don't do it in a systematic way, it's not going to be effective. So everyone said do video. They also said that only 20%, 22% of realtors do video. So to set yourself apart, right there you got 80% of the realtors aren't doing video. So I wanted to be in video. And then someone referred me to you. You took me out to dinner, and
it works, doesn't it?
Here's what resonated with me. I don't think anything is effective unless you're accountable. So I think you have to be accountable. I don't think anything is really effective unless you have a coach to guide you. And I think if you do anything in a systematic way, it's going to be effective. So you had that set up from the very beginning. Well, we're going to give you a coach to keep you accountable and make you do 2 a month for $500 or whatever it was. I can't remember what it was. And that just resonated with me, and that was it. Sold.
Well, and I appreciate that, Bob. Thanks for sharing all that. I really do. But what business have you seen from the videos helping you if so much business is coming from your phone calls? Like, how are the videos helping you directly get more business? Now, I know you get the open and click reports. You're getting the people that are watching them. Hopefully you're calling those people.
Right. So
okay.
What really happens in real estate, and if you read the book and if you understand anything, is that it's all positioning. You're positioning people as the realtor of choice. You're positioning people as the local economist of choice. You're positioning people yourself so that you're the expert in the community. And if you want to get brain share, so any person can maybe think of 1 or 2 realtors out there, but you want them to be thinking of you, so when they're ready to make a move to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, that they think about you. So 24 videos a year keeps your mind share, and keeps your client aware of you, and keeps them keeps you positioned in their mind.
Okay.
Because what happens is they have to think of a realtor when they're ready to buy and sell. And they go, oh yeah, I just got that video from Bob. I can call. Oh yeah, here's his number. I can call him.
Of the business you did last year, how much of it came from people just calling you? Hey, come list my house.
Well, all of that 68% was essentially that. They just called me.
So $514,000 of GCI from people just calling you. And that's a combination of calling them and staying in touch, your newsletters, and your 2 viral videos. I mean, you're not doing anything else. And obviously, your great service that they remember. Let's not forget the 80.
We send them some other stuff. We send them a refrigerator magnet at Christmas.
Okay, fair enough.
Something to help them shop at the grocery with and things like that. But that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got essentially like a 43 touch instead of a 33 touch.
Yeah, I'll hold this up again if anyone can see it. But you're really not spending that much. You obviously have a lot of direct mail that we axed. The internet others, the viral, plus some other stuff. You got the home buyer network. You said a lot of that comes from your flipping. That's for your own properties that you like to invest in.
Right.
What's other big expense we got on here?
I guess the internet's a big expense.
Market leader. Let's talk about market leader. Let's talk about buyer leads. How's that working for you? because those emails are coming in, and you said you have 800 true people in your database, but where are the other 1,000? You got 1,800 people. You got 1,000 other people in there that are probably just leads. How have the videos helped with the type of lead conversion?
Oh, how have videos helped with lead conversion?
Yeah, from you spent $4,000 on market leader for buyer lead conversion. You got some other leads. Has that helped you at all with that?
No, we are phenomenally unsuccessful at converting like pay-per-click leads. We've tried many pay-per-click systems, and our results are very low. Around 2 to 3% of those leads result in a sale eventually.
Which is right. I mean, people are happy with one. If you're getting 2 to 3, people will take that. But that's nothing compared to your database.
Yeah. No. So I mean, any pay-per-click system like Market Leader or any of those other systems, they usually come down. I think even state-of-the-art would be 8%. I mean, the absolute best converters that really work hard at it, maybe they get 8%.
It's incredible.
I think across the country, I hear 5% a lot. My numbers are lower than that, like 3%, 2%. So I think it's a great way to generate leads, but it's not a very effective way. It's very easy to get buyer leads. If you really want to focus on leads, you should try to focus on seller leads. That's where the real but eventually, it looks like the cost of getting those leads is too high. It's over like 30%, and you want your cost of lead generation to be around 8% or to 8 to 9. You don't want to go over that, so it shouldn't be that. You have to make sure you're careful with it, not to go over that 8 to.
Well, I've noticed that. I'm gonna share that one more time with everybody. So obviously for the database, you're getting good return on that by doing everything we shared so far. But you did about 750,000 GCI last year, which gives you about a $75,000 a year annual marketing budget. And if you take a look here, you're right under that at about 71,000 for your total expense.
Well, yeah,
which is great.
Yeah, I spend 9.5%. I should spend 9.2. I went over the budget.
According to the budget of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, which is a great book for you to read. Right. So let's move on to some other strategies that you're going to employ to start really taking your database to the next level. So just to recap with everybody, you're doing a great job of getting email addresses. Bob, I should see more emails in your database if you're getting 240 emails a month. Are all those ending up in our servers at Vyral Marketing?
Well, no. That's another challenge we have, because if they aren't a client of ours yet and we haven't converted them yet, they kind of go into a different database.
Let's put them in there. They don't have to be clients. I can put anybody in that list.
Okay.
Everybody should be getting those 2 educational videos.
Yeah, I probably should. Like out of area leads, I haven't put them in there yet.
Yeah, send them over. If you have permission, Bob, listen. If you got permission of somebody that says I want to stay in touch with you, I want to send you my stuff. Maybe change your script a little bit as opposed to just in case. Yeah. Say, hey, I want to send you some educational videos. Get those 240 email addresses into us every month. Let's get them on the 2 videos a month, and then I'll give you the names of the people that are watching those videos so you can follow up. I want to see your email list growing here. It should be a lot bigger, at least snowballing a little faster than what it is, so I get those emails in. Okay. So we talked about growing the email list. We talked about shooting the 2 videos a month. We don't have to go too in depth with that. That's pretty straightforward. You get in front of a webcam and you record 2 quick educational updates. And if I could show you my screen, I'd show some examples here for you. Bob, why don't you tell everyone where your video blog is so they can go there and see all your videos and see some examples.
Oh, my video blog is actually on my Keller Williams website, which costs me like $15 a month, and it's bobguest.com.
Bobguest.com.
Just look for the blog part of it, bobguest.com, and all the videos are there. You can scroll down and watch them all.
And I do know if you type in Austin real estate agent on YouTube, as well as Google and click video, you're in the top like 5 or 6 search results, which is good.
Well, that's the other great thing about videos on a blog. You don't have to have a fancy website. As long as you blog systematically, your SEO goes up dramatically. So
the videos can go anywhere.
I'm on the first page of Google. If you did Cedar Park Realtor or Round Rock Realtor, I'm pretty much up at the top just due to the blogging and the videos that you do. So that's the other reason to do video blogging.
And we know how to put the right keywords at the very beginning of the title as well as in the description.
Yeah.
Okay? So we got those 2 videos. You sit down, you shoot those every single month, and people can go watch those to see examples of how you do that. And then you get the names of the people who are watching those videos, and you prioritize follow-up. Is there anything you want to say a little more on calling your open and click reports and how that's helped you prioritize who in your database maybe you should be speaking with?
Well, yeah. Every single time we send out a video, we have the open and click report, and that's my inside sales agent's job, is to go through all of the people that have opened and clicked and contact them. And a lot of times those are the listings we get right there.
Now let's talk about that, because this is somebody calling on your behalf that's necessarily calling current clients. They could be calling past clients. They could be calling your family.
Mm-hmm.
But it's them calling, not you.
Right.
So can you share that script, how they call on your behalf, as opposed to you making those calls?
Sure. I can pull up the script.
That's it. Yeah.
Let me get it.
Don't try to share a screen, or else this Google Hangout might crash on us. And then in about 5 minutes, everybody, I'm going to get to your questions here. So keep asking here on the right. Thank you very much for asking those.
Yeah. So we just changed the script. We changed the script a little bit from what we were doing, and it's done a little bit better. I wish I could pull it up for you.
That's all right. Why don't you go and send that to me afterwards? I can put in the comments that everyone can receive after the Hangout.
Okay.
Here's what I want to get the last few minutes before I open up for Q&A. Is you've done such a good job of building your own database, sending out your communications, your 2 videos a month to everybody. Then you segmented your list by A, B's, and C's based how people refer you, and that segment of about 800 people get a monthly newsletter, print, mailed to them, right? Plus lots of phone calls. And then prioritizing follow-up with the people that watch those videos, but you have your prospector doing that with a great script that you're going to share with us.
Right.
We talked about co-marketing. Why don't you share our plans with a co-marketing plan to get you in front of the databases of other people?
Okay, so the co-marketing idea comes from the idea we realized we had an epiphany because our business has plateaued for a long time because we haven't really done a great job of really expanding our database. Because you have to remember, a lot of people leave your database, or they can move out or migrate or change or pass away, get sick.
I would say about 30% a year. Move away, unsubscribe, list fatigue. Your database will lose by about 30% of its value a year, even if you're touching it.
So we didn't calculate that. So we started to notice that our business was plateauing, and then it took us a long time to get an epiphany to realize that we really weren't growing the database. And the scientific law is your business grows to the extent your database grows. We were not growing it. We were plateaued because our database was not growing. We were feeding it, but we weren't feeding it enough. So we started brainstorming, how can we increase our database more? And you have to remember, every person you know probably knows 150 to 300 people. So you have to be better at asking people that you know who that I should know. Who do you know that I should know? And there's a couple ideas. If you have really good vendors, they'll give you their sphere of influence sometimes. So my idea is or if you're having a home warming party for somebody, you can do invitations for them and get their database for those people you want to invite. So if I got vendors involved, I get them involved with my team, then I essentially can get their database, at least let their database know about me, even if I don't have their addresses and their phone numbers. But my idea is to grow through other people, grow my database through other people, other vendors.
Well, let me go a little deeper on that for just to clarify for everybody. So home builders, interior designers, credit repair, home organizers, property management, remodeling, executive recruiters. That's huge, right? Probate attorneys, bankruptcy attorneys, wedding planners, RV dealers, people downsizing homes and buying RVs, right?
Yeah.
Even financial planners, life and career coaches. Those professions tend to be in front of people who are buying and selling real estate. So if you could interview them in your videos and include them in your videos when you interview them, or just even interview them over the phone, and now you have an audio file for a podcast, get them to send that content out to their database to come back to your website to watch it.
Oh, yeah.
And that gets you word of mouth, I like to call it, through the databases of all your co-marketing partners. Plus, not only that, that's not even that important. I mean, that's great you get all that exposure, but really, if you're interviewing all those people every month, that's a monthly time you get on the phone scheduled to speak with one of your referral partners, one of your co-marketing partners.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
So that's something we're going to be rolling out and we're going to be doing with you here. And if anyone's ever interested in doing a co-marketing plan, contact us. It's something, I think that's the next big thing in real estate, in business in general, is the prices of buying leads online get bid up. How can you grow your database exponentially? Well, certainly you can invest in lots of prospectors and lots of people. It's expensive, or you can just partner with people who have that audience, which are those people I shared with you, and have them share their content with their list, and they be your referral partners. I think there's going to be a lot of ROI for you there, Bob. We'll see how that works. Let's go ahead and open up to some of your questions. Bill Black. Good to see you, Bill. Good long time, one of our original Vyral Marketing clients. What kind of client appreciation party do you do once a year? Bob.
Oh, me?
Yep.
What he wants to know what...
Yeah, Bill Black in Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh, okay.
Tell us about your client appreciation event, how you put that on.
Well, for many, many years, we just had we had a party that was actually sponsored by Keller Williams. We'd go down to the oldest restaurant in Austin, which was a beer garden, Schultz's Beer Garden, and we'd have a barbecue, and people would come in for Oktoberfest event in October. And it was very, very popular, and we paid basically $10 a person to eat there. It was very inexpensive. Out of my database, only a fraction would come, maybe 10%, and it was always a lot of fun. And we just marketed that way. This year it's going to be sort of the same thing, but we're running the event outside of Keller Williams. It's going to be held at a park. We're renting out 2 pavilions, and we're going to have live music. At the beer garden we used to have the German polka music. So we did polka music. That was fun. But those are the 2 events we've had: the German Oktoberfest polka barbecue, and this year we're going to have just a spring barbecue with rock and roll and country music out of a pavilion at a park near us.
Cool. Troy Hanson, the great Vyral client, asks, how you doing, Troy? How do you catch people on the phone when no one answers the phone anymore? Tell us about that. You're a phone guy, but is it hard to get people to answer the phone? But you have to remember, you're calling your database.
I'm calling my database, and what I usually do is I usually call them. I actually tend to call them 2 or 3 times, and it's remarkable how many times they pick up on the second time I call them.
You mean like 2 to 3 times in a row?
Yeah, like with maybe 3 or 4 minutes in between.
Well, that's a good tip. Go a little deeper on your strategies with getting people to answer the phone with you. I'd like to hear this.
Like this, for example, this morning I called my sphere, and I think 3 or 4 of them did not pick up on the first call, but I called them back 3 or 4 5 minutes later, and they picked up. I think they just.
What do they say? What's wrong?
They didn't say anything. They just said, "Hi, Bob. I missed your call. I'm glad you called. And what did you need?" And that's all. But I do tend to call people 2 or 3 times. I don't just call them once. I usually call them 2 or 3 times. I notice that people do that to me too. Like if I don't pick up the first ring, they'll call back again, just to see if I just couldn't get to the phone or was out of reach or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I say. Like I thought maybe it was out of reach. Maybe the phone was in the kitchen. You were getting dressed or something. So I want to make sure I didn't miss you.
You do any texting?
Yeah, I text them too. I go, this is Bob Guest. This is a good time to call. So yeah, I usually will call 2 or 3 times, then text. because that's how I got to get my 20 contacts. I have to do it that way.
That's incredible. That's a good tip. So when you reach out to 20 people, you're really actually making like 60 attempts, plus texting.
Yeah, you're making a lot of attempts. You got to make it very simple. It's 7 an hour. I got to hit 7 an hour. So that means you can't have any distractions. Yeah, that's the other book that Gary Keller wrote, The One Thing.
Yeah.
So build a bunker and stay in it and be protected and make sure you get your calls in. You got to get 7 calls an hour if you decide to do this. But now this strategy works even if you don't make calls, though. I mean, it still is effective even if you don't make the calls.
Will you share the form, your buyer and seller lead sheets? Would you share those for the group?
Sure, they're complicated. They're double-sided too.
Those are nice. Well, those are really good intake forms. I think when someone calls in and you go through those questions, they're going to see you much more as a professional than like, hey, let's go see the house right away, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Also, I like it. Those are really good for when you have staff working for you, how to systematize the process when people call in for the intake.
Plus, it's color-coded.
You love the colors, don't you?
Oh, yeah, color coding is big.
That's great.
I love color coding. But, yeah, it's system. And then this one, I change it all the time. This one's on revision 26, and this one's on revision 30. I've revised them 30 times. They keep
That's
getting
great,
better
man.
and better.
You'd be open to sharing that with the group. I'll post a link to those up in the comments after the event. Leslie, how do you do? Another great viral client. This is wonderful. I think we already answered this, but let's answer it again. When you say you and your teammate, your prospect, are calling 100 people per week, who are you calling? Past clients, FSBOs expired. Do you want to go a little deeper one more time on that answer?
Okay, so that we're gonna. The first thing we do when we come in the morning is we call expireds and for sale by owners. It only takes about 5 to 10 minutes because there's not that many. So that's the first thing we do when we get in the morning. And then if I have a new listing, I'm going to do what we call just listed, just sold calls. You're calling the neighborhood around that listing to inform them about the new listing you're going to put in the market or the house that you just sold. Those are the easiest ones. You can get 30 or 40 an hour doing those. You can get a lot of contacts that way, but you can get a lot of business from it. So we do just listed, just sold calls. So whenever we have a downtime or we need to get our call ratio back up or get our number of calls in, we do just listed, just sold. They're the easiest to get your numbers for pure numbers because we just call around the neighborhood. And then, every single day my assistant puts sphere of influence calls and sphere of influence notes. I do write personal notes too, Frank. I forgot to tell you that. So usually I have 3 to 5 personal notes to write every day too. So I still do personal notes. But then we call sphere of influence. I'm calling them every day. We always call follow-up calls, and then we have, when people have sold, we have a plan for after they've sold. We keep in contact with them after they've sold to make sure everything's okay. We tell people we don't love them and leave them. We stay with them. And what other calls do we make? Mostly, we have a 1-800 system where we get, if you saw my marketing list, we get a lot of text message leads and we get a lot of 1-800 phone call leads. We get market leader leads. We get a lot of leads and we call them all. So we call them all. It's just our conversion rate is very low.
Off of the buyer leads online.
Yeah, but we spend a lot of time tracking down those leads, and the conversion rate is just the normal 3 to 5%.
Well, we'll get into the tracking down. We have a question. Leslie has one more question. She just started with Vyral Marketing. She just started her first video. Segmentation of the database of what you suggest. Will you go over your A, B, and C's one more time? Okay, so I should get my assistant here, but basically, if an A database is someone who's referred me more than once, maybe twice or more, they're my A's. It's going to be a very small number. For me, it's 25 to 30. Then my B's are anyone who's referred me once. So if they've referred twice, they move from B to A. But anyone who's referred me once is a B. And then anyone who has told me verbally that they would refer us is a C. And we have other databases. We have a D, we have an E. Like a D is someone that would refer us that doesn't live in the area, that lives out of state. And then we have E's that we haven't really made a good relationship with. Okay.
So if we put people in, if it's just a pure lead and we just have their name, phone number, and email, we put them into the E database. And then our goal is to get them from the E to the C to the B to the A.
Great. That answers that question.
I stole that from Brian Buffini. I think that's where I first heard that.
Do you
So
use the calling service like Mojo, or are you just like manually dialing off the cell phone?
no, we
Anything you
use we
suggest?
use Mojo every day. Our goal is to try to get as much as we can into Mojo.
Why don't you explain Mojo to viewers if they're not familiar with that?
Well, there's a lot of dialers out there. Vulcan 7 has their own dialer. Land Voice has their own dialer called Sales Dialer, and Mojo is another sales dialer. Mojo can dial 3 people at once. Sales Dialer can dial 4 people at once, and I think Vulcan 7 can only dial 1 person at a time. Arch Telecom has a dialer; they dial 1 at a time, but it's an automated dialer system, so you're not actually physically pushing the button. The machine is, and you can call up to 3 to 4 people at once. So you can definitely get, like, if you're doing just listed, just sold, you definitely want to be on a dialer because otherwise it's crazy monotonous.
Right. Troy has the same question with his farm. He says his turnover has gone down quite considerably. Are you moving to a new farm? Stick with the current one? What's your plan with that?
Well, that's where I spent $33,000 last year. I moved to a different farm and got skunked.
So no more farming. You're canceling that.
Well, I'm still doing farming. I'm just going to be. I'm working really hard to get the emails for the farm and try to do it that way. So I have to work really hard to go door to door or wherever I can to get the emails from my farm and get a better relationship.
Sure.
But yeah, I think it's a normal progression. Every single farm tends to have a good turnover, and then over a course of 15 years, it goes down. I've been farming the same area for 15 years, and my sales went from 30 down to 4. That's not good.
Are there any tips you can give people when it comes to your video marketing? Let's spend the last 4 or 5 minutes here talking about specifically viral marketing. What do people have to do to be specifically to get benefit from doing well with video? What are your best tips?
Well, I'm still learning myself. I think if you're on video, you want to be as natural as you can. You don't want to be like staring at the computer or look like you're reading. I think it's better to be a little bit more informal and be a little bit more real and just tell people what you really think. I think that's more effective. I think for the market updates, they do like to see some data. It's a good idea to have maybe some charts and some graphs so that you have credibility and you can speak to the chart and the graph for the area so you have some credibility, because obviously the market updates are the most effective for me, and so most of my market updates have some graphs to back up what I'm saying so I can prove it to them what's really happening in the marketplace. The great thing about the market updates for realtors is we always find that as a realtor we're about 2 months ahead of the media on what's really happening.
So for the local area.
Yeah, the newspaper is going to find out what's going on 2 months after I know about it.
Well, outside of market updates, what are other topics that you found have done well for you?
Well, let's see. Like a very successful one is how to protest your taxes.
That's always a good one.
How to go up to the appraisal district and how to actually do it. Because there is a science to it there, because the science is the appraisal district doesn't even care what your comps are. Basically, if you're just nice to them and say, what can you do for me, it's far more effective than saying, here's my comps, drop it to this price.
That's also a good reason to contact your database around that time, too, about protesting taxes.
Yeah, if you go up there and argue with them, it won't work. But if you just ask them, what can you do for me, they'll give you 20% off.
Good tip.
I know, it's just crazy. Ask me how I know.
How much time does viral marketing take to hire us and to get the benefit of our program?
Viral marketing takes me literally it might take me an hour and a half a week if I'm doing a market update. So it takes maybe 10 or 20 minutes with my coach, and I probably prepare for maybe an hour.
An hour and a half a month, not a week.
Oh, an hour and a half a month. Sorry for the 2.
Month.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, to take that much a week, that's too much. So an hour and a half, so you get on the phone with your coach, they interview you for your videos, and they're done, and they go out, right? Any specific stories of results that you can attribute to that, or is it all just, it's one more thing I have to do to be in front of people for positioning, where it's more of like a branding? Is there any direct ROI directly to the viral marketing spend that you can hold accountable to?
Well, yeah, we know. I mean, we know that from our click reports, our open and click reports, we'll call them and they'll say, "Yep, I want to list my house. Thanks for calling. I just wasn't ready yet." and I'll say, well, great. The great thing about this is that I can come out there right now. I can be there in 5 minutes and show you what your house is worth because I know your neighborhood really
So
well.
those videos are prioritizing who's thinking about buying or selling in the whole list. So
Yeah, if you have someone that opens up the what my house is worth report, that's gold. You go right for those because those are any listings lead is gold, no matter how you get it. It's the buyer leads that are really the junk. You have to sift through. You get 2 or 3%. But a listing lead, the conversion rate's much higher. If someone's indicating that they're thinking about selling or they want to know what their house is worth or what they're either thinking about protesting their taxes or they're thinking about selling.
One last question. We're a little over the 1 hour here. Terry Peterson asks, are you using a home value lead capture page to generate seller leads online? And let me add a caveat to that. How is the magical seller lead? By the way, anyone watching, please go to Google, type in magical seller lead generation email. I write them every quarter. It's a copy and paste job out to your database. It'll drive a bunch of traffic right back to your home value report website for people to opt in, which can generate some good seller leads for you. I recommend doing it every 3 months. We do it every 3 months for clients, the magical seller lead generation email. Type that into Google. How'd that work for you, and how's the online seller lead generation going with any of that stuff? Last question.
Well, I think your magical email that you sent out, I think we got 9 or 10 seller leads
that were legitimate.
That are legitimate, and I think we got 2 listings from that one email, or one that has
one email. Every single person that has sent that out is getting direct business from that. It's free. It's up on the web. Go use it.
Yeah, it was very effective. Very effective. It was very well done.
Thank you.
So I think we have one that hasn't signed up yet. He hasn't. But
outside of emailing your database, every 3 months to drive them back to a squeeze page to put their information in for a free value report for a seller lead, are you getting any other business with online seller leads?
No, except for House Buyer Network, but we only had 2 sales from it last year.
Okay.
Those are seller leads, but we did get 2 sales from that last year. Spent $6,000, probably got 12,000 back, so it's 2 times return.
Okay. Well, I believe everybody probably has to go to the next appointment, so we'll go ahead and cut the database marketing hangout here. I want to say thank you very much for attending, and Bob, thank you for giving away all this great information. Why don't you send over those sheets to me, and
Sure.
anything else that you feel the audience can find of value, and I'll put it up on a server and put a link to it to download in the comments. So I'll put that in the comments down below. And if anyone's interested in getting more information about how you can get more business and more sales from your database and how the whole viral marketing plan will work in your business, you could, like I said, follow us on YouTube, watch some of the videos I produced with some great content how to do that, watch some of the previous database marketing hangouts on our website under the Hangouts tab. You can follow us here on Google+. You can subscribe to our newsletter, which is on the opt-in for that's on the right-hand side of our website. And obviously, if you are interested in viral marketing, a little more about what it's like to work together and the pricing and how that works, 2 options for you. You can attend one of our weekly live group presentations where Scott here, one of our senior coaches, takes you through how everything works. Or you can request a one-on-one free strategy session on our website. And for anyone on this Hangout, before you go, if anyone is interested of having us for free at no charge, get your database together, export it, deduplicate it, and get that magical seller lead generation email, which you can Google magical seller lead generation email, and get that out. We'll do that for free for you at no charge, a little free trial, so you can kind of see how much business is sitting in your database with one little email that goes out. It's pretty fun to see that. So I want to thank everyone for attending, and Bob, thank you very much for being on the Hangout. And I look forward to our next database marketing Hangout in 2 weeks with viral client John Carbuti, who owns his own brokerage, and we're going to talk about how he's using video for co-marketing, how he's using video for recruiting to get agents to his office, among some other things. So thank you so much for attending today. We'll go ahead and cut it right there.